June 5th, 2017, Apple released a new product for your home, a $349 speaker that had to be plugged into your wall and connected to Wi-Fi at all times. This was Apple's way of trying to compete with something like the Amazon Echo, which they were literally giving away for free at the time, so of course the HomePod flopped hard. Clearly, lots of people stuck with the smaller Amazon Echo instead of this very overpriced HomePod, even if it sounded better. Fast forward to October 13th, 2020, when Apple finally realized that smart speakers need to be a lot cheaper. So they gave us this much smaller, much cheaper HomePod mini for $99, and it's become a really popular speaker. Getting your HomePod set up is very easy. Just plug it in and bring your iPhone close to the HomePod. After a little, you get a pop-up on your iPhone to set up your HomePod, and you just have to follow the instructions on your screen. Once you're done with the setup process, you'll see your HomePod mini in the Home app. The Home app is where you can go in and change specific settings about your HomePod, like who exactly can connect to the HomePod. I always keep my HomePods to anyone that's on the same Wi-Fi can connect to my HomePods, but that's just a personal preference and that's what I like the best. Something really cool about HomePod minis is you can actually connect two of them together to give you stereo audio. You know when you're at a movie theater and you can actually hear the car go from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen? That's stereo audio. Instead of hearing the same sound out of both speakers, the sound is split into two channels, making music, shows, or whatever you're listening to just sound better. Having the ability to set up stereo audio is actually really nice because you can actually set your HomePod minis as the default speaker for your Apple TV. Okay, now let's talk about the actual controls on the HomePod itself. If you have AirPods, these are going to be very familiar. Of course, you have these two volume buttons which change the volume, but in the middle of the HomePod is touch sensitive. So let's quickly go over it. Tap once will play and pause, a double tap will skip to the next track, a triple tap will go back to the previous track, and hold will activate Siri. And you can ask Siri all kinds of questions like to play a different song or a podcast. Having the ability to control your HomePod on the HomePod is nice, but honestly, I use my iPhone more than anything because I just think it's easier. For example, if you start playing a song on the iPhone, there are a few ways to actually bring the song to your HomePod mini. First, you can access all your HomePods in the Music app with this AirPlay button on the bottom of the screen. From here, you can click all the HomePods you want the music to play out of, and it'll sync together, playing perfectly from all your HomePods. This option is also in your control center by default, and well, it works the same way. Then maybe the coolest way is walk your iPhone over to your HomePod and just tap it a little, kind of like Apple Pay, and the music will just magically transfer over. These HomePod minis are equipped with quite a few sensors to make it sound better, but there are a few extra sensors they put in there, like the temperature and humidity sensor, which come in handy when you're trying to build a cool smart home. In fact, the Shortcuts app is kind of what makes these HomePods go from just a regular home speaker to something really cool and useful that you'll need every day. So really quickly, let's talk about a few shortcuts that you can set up with just your HomePod, then I'll show you some of my favorite shortcuts that I use in my smart home. The first really cool shortcut isn't actually in the Shortcuts app, but I think it's really useful and everyone should know about. In the Home app, if you go to HomePod settings, you can scroll down and find sound recognition and turn on smoke and CO alarm. This will have the HomePods listen for the smoke alarm. If a smoke alarm goes off in your home, the HomePods will hear it and notify you. Next is the Good Morning shortcut. Go into the Shortcuts app and add a shortcut. Some of the things I've added is get weather so I can hear the forecast, get upcoming events so I can check my calendar. Then I have a morning podcast play every morning. Now in the morning when I wake up, it'll actually check the weather for me, tell me what's on my calendar, and play my morning playlist. If you have something like a smart switch controlling your fan, you can actually set an automation using the temperature sensor on your HomePod. When your HomePod senses a certain temperature, it'll turn on your fan, cooling down the room a little. My all-time favorite shortcut is my Goodnight shortcut, which actually turns off all the lights and my TVs, sets my thermostat to my favorite sleeping temperature, and makes sure all the doors are locked. The HomePod mini is a great start to your smart home, but there's so much more you can do. So if you want to learn more about HomeKit, watch this video. Thanks for watching.